Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Rhode Island State House of Go Local News editor, Kate Nagel. Thanks for joining us this Thursday afternoon. I'd like to welcome leader Joe Shekarchi, and thank you so much for coming on today.
Always a pleasure. I want to remind you and your audience that when you first started going live here at the State House, I was your very first guest, and I always enjoy coming on your show.
Well, I appreciate all the legislators, especially you, coming on to talk with us about what's happening. And the big issue, one of the big issues this week, of course, is looking at sports betting and a proposal to expand it to mobile. So talk with us a little bit about this legislation, and then we'll parse the numbers.
So the legislation is up tonight. We're hearing in House Finance, and I encourage all of you who are interested to watch it, participate, send an email, actually show up this evening after session and voice a concern. What the legislation essentially does is allow gambling at certain conditions of registration, in-person registration, to be able to make your wagers online if you are a Rhode Island resident over 21 years of age. That's as it's proposed. I understand in the Senate there was some changes last night. We'll look at those as well. We'll see what's going to happen tonight as well as the hearing. We're open for input from the public, from Twin River, and from the partners, IGT and William Hill.
Do you have any sense of these changes that transpired on the Senate side?
I do not. I heard it was sub-A, so there was some minor changes, but I believe the Senate did in fact move the bill last night.
So let's take a step back.
Committee into the floor.
Okay, so it comes to the House today. And let's just talk about sports betting that went live this past November. Original projections had been for the year 23.5 million. With the late start, it's been downgraded to 11.5. Taking a look and trying to put that number associated with mobile sports gaming, is there some concern again that the state might overestimate, as we saw what happened with just regular in-casino sports gaming?
Anytime you do a budget, there's always a chance of overestimating or underestimating. It's not exact science. You're doing it based on projections. We didn't have any history here in Rhode Island. That was the projection that came out. We also got started late, which in my opinion is okay because I'd rather do it right and late than to do it wrong and early or on time. So in this case, I'd rather do it a little bit later and get it right. The most important thing we have to make sure there's safeguards in. We have to protect the integrity of the system. We also heard from a lot of the Major League Sports leagues. They were here talking about how we can improve it, how we can share information, betting data, etc. So it's an exact science, but I think now that we're up and running, we can see what the projections and the actual revenue is, and we can make a projection going forward that will probably be much more accurate because now we have history. And last year we had no history. And also last year when we enacted it, other than Nevada, there were no states doing it. Now there are several states doing it, so we can look at how Rhode Island is benefiting from it and how other states are as well.
We had the opportunity yesterday on Live to talk with a national trade expert, Dustin Gauker with Play USA. And he talked a little bit about that implementation and mentioned as well those especially Super Bowl numbers from this past weekend brought in a lot, probably over the line from Massachusetts and Connecticut. Obviously, Massachusetts has some legislation, some supported by the governor as well. How do you think, especially looking at the holistic picture, both mobile and then sports gaming at the state level will be impacted if we see other states pick it up as well?
Well, certainly, there are people who come to Rhode Island right now who are making wagering. They're from Massachusetts and Connecticut. It's about a convenience. So if those people are from the Seacom, Attleboro area, they're probably still going to come to Rhode Island. If those people are more from the greater Boston area, they may go to the new casino at Wynn or the facility in Springfield, the MGM. So it depends on what Massachusetts does and when they do it. I can tell you that Massachusetts has contacted me. I've talked to some local state representatives about it, and they're interested, and they were quite in awe that we were able to get it done. And approximately 1 week after the Supreme Court approved it last year, Rhode Island was ready, and Rhode Island was able to partner with IGT, Twin River, and the state to come up with a very competitive package. I want to point out one thing for you in the audience, that Rhode Island's take on that is 51%. That's the highest percentage of any sports gaming in the country. Rhode Island gets a higher percentage than any of the sports, much more than Nevada, Delaware, and New Jersey.
And one of the things that we had talked about too as well, so if you look at sports betting in casino and then if you look at it as mobile, when we had spoken with Dustin Gauker yesterday, he said in New Jersey, 2/3 of their betting was coming through mobile. Do we expect to see projected revenues from in casino drop slightly because if there's an ease of being on mobile, then those folks who might have gone to the casinos are literally just grabbing their phones and doing it on their phones?
Well, I think there's two different types of sports betting. First of all, there are vendors here who will be testifying tonight. So I encourage all of you and your viewers to watch the hearings and participate. But I was with a vendor yesterday who said that actually mobile app would increase the number of revenue. There's certain people who will only, certain generation or better, who will only vote on their mobile app. There are other generation who actually make it a destination, who'll go there with a partner, a wife, a spouse. Typically, the husband will be in the sports book. He'll bet a game. He'll watch a game. The wife may be playing slots. They'll get something to eat. They'll make a day of it. It is a adult entertainment venue for them to enjoy the day. For some younger generation, it's just an app that they place a wager on so they can watch the game at home, at a friend's house, at a local place. And they don't really want to be at a casino. So we're going to try to attract to both. We want Twin River to succeed. We want mobile gambling to succeed. We want sports wagering to proceed and succeed. So what we want to do is be able to give the customer in this case, many different options to place their wager.
And do you think, I know every time there's something that addresses gambling and gaming, addressing resources for those who have problems with it, an addiction, if you will, the ease of which mobile sports gaming will allow people to bet quickly, bet often, as opposed to going to a casino. Do you think that there are enough resources applied to it that would be, again, discussed at the assembly level to say, how do we outreach to those folks that we might not even know are having problems? They are on their phone and they might be getting addicted or getting into debt.
Well, unfortunately, that's a problem that we have in society on every level. We didn't talk about that in terms of, marijuana use. We can talk about that. Opiates. We can talk about that. People will do something to, excess their detriment and the detriment of society. So what you do is you try to put an education campaign around it. I think Twin River does that regarding problem gamblers. I think the state has committed enough resources to do that. But clearly, this is an activity that has been going on legally, illegally, in friendly neighborhood bets or local neighborhood taverns for a long time. So what we're doing is we're legalizing it, we're legitimizing it, and we're actually regulating it. So I think that part of it's a good thing. If we were to talk about introducing something totally new to Rhode Island, but sports betting, gambling, parimutuel, horse, Narragansett racetrack, yes. Lincoln racetrack, highlight, we've had gambling here around for many years. So let's regulate it. If we're going to do it, I understand you can make an argument that we shouldn't do it. That's certainly a discussion we could have. But if we're already doing it or we're going to do it, let's do it right and let's do it properly. So I think this accomplishes that.
If you're a betting guy, do you think mobile sports betting goes through this?
I do. I think in some form, I think you're going to see that option available. I don't think it'll be immediate, by the way. Okay. I think it could be later in the year, could be in the summertime. I think that, anytime you're introducing a new product, I think you want to do it right, especially a product that's regulated and has to do with money. But I do like some of the tenets I've seen in the bill, which will require on-site, initiation of an account, okay. and money being placed in that account at a facility where you have to be an adult, and then the actual wagering would be on your computer, but the terminal that accepts the wager would be at Twin River.
Okay, well, I appreciate you taking the time to come in and talk about one of the big issues up here at the State House this week, with a committee hearing this night to consider mobile sports betting. Anything else you want to share with viewers while we have you here in studio?
Always a great show. I'm glad you're here. I think it's good for democracy. I think you literally bring the viewer right into the State House, and I look forward to coming on your show again.
Well, I appreciate it, Joe Shekarchi. Thank you so much. And that just about wraps up another day here at Rhode Island State House. We'll be back in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center at 4 o'clock, so be sure to tune in to Go Local then. Go Local News Editor